What is going on? We got some pretty breaking news here. A military plant with as many as 20 people was just vaporized. And the hope of survivors is extremely unlikely when you see the footage. This is obviously a horrible story. This is all that's left is a hole in the ground. There's literally nothing left of the building, and the 20, you can see the workers' cars right here in the parking lot. Like, even the cars. I mean, the blast must have been gigantic. Like, even look at the garbage can bowed out. The dumpster. Definitely praying for their families. I know I'm new to the going to church and all, but nearly 24 people feared dead after massive explosion erupted at a Tennessee bomb factory this morning. The blast went off at the Accurate Energetic Systems plant, located about 60 miles southwest of Nashville, near the town of Bucksnort, Friday at 7:50 a.m. local time. At least 19 employees remain unaccounted for, according to Odell Poynter, the emergency management director in nearby Humphreys County. The initial blast was so enormous that locals reported hearing it and feeling it from dozens of miles away. The extent of the damage remains unclear at this time, but footage from the scene showed burning debris with smoke billowing in the air. Several cars and buildings appear to have been damaged in the blast. Authorities say their main concern right now is for potential secondary explosions. Emergency crews are on site and have urged the public to stay away. At the scene, the Bureau of the ATF has also been dispatched to the plant to investigate the explosion. There was an explosion at the Accurate Energetic Systems plant back in April 2014, a blast that left one person dead and 3 others injured. 11 years ago, they had another accident. Listen to this ring camera footage. You could see the camera shake. You notice that? You see this shockwave. Watch the shockwave on camera. It's coming up here. Boom. I mean, that's crazy. Bionica Holt, whose residence is 15 miles away from the factory, said she thought we were at war and that I was going to die. Well, that's going from 0 to 100. I was standing in my bedroom and shook the whole house. I thought I was going to blow up my windows. I didn't know how big it was, she told the Tennessean. Hickman County Manager Jim Bates said his office had received multiple calls from residents claiming they felt the ground shake. It's an unfortunate incident. It was felt around our city, the mayor said. We just pray that the good Lord keeps their hands on these families involved. Residents in Lobelville, a more than 20-minute drive from the military explosive manufacturing plant, said they felt their home shake. I thought the house had collapsed with me inside of it. Gary Sover, who claimed the blast rattled him from his sleep. I live very close to Accurate, and I realized about 30 seconds after I woke up that had to have been it. Right now, some people are obviously trying to politicize this. We haven't heard yet. We haven't heard yet what some people have to say about this blast. But this appears to be an accident. Here you have the building beforehand. This is the building. This is the building before. The explosion 11 years ago occurred in the building that was operated by Rio Ammunition and made ammunition for law enforcement and the military, as well as hunting. The Rio Ammunition building was pretty much destroyed during the explosion, officials said at the time. I don't know. I mean, one would argue that when it's like a bomb-making factory, it's certainly, this is part of the risk. But this ignition was so big. I mean, these cars, they're not, look at them. The blast, the concussion from the blast, this car obviously was not parked here. The size of this blast must have been massive. Look at it. It's all dented in from the debris. Look at this car here. I mean, where was it parked? Safety stairs, the only thing left. The entire building blown out. There's a reason that these facilities are out in the middle of nowhere. You know, but this is bad. You know, obviously I pray for the families. I'm not sure if has this been reported yet? You know, has anybody been saying that foreign nations are responsible for this? I know that Qatar is getting an airport in Idaho or whatever the heck it is, which is crazy. And I disagree with that. Yeah, no real reporting. Nothing really new on this. If we look for, you know, I'm trying to get a little, here's some better video, I guess. Why do people always add the spooky music? I don't like that. All 19 employees were inside of the building at the time, and all of them remain unaccounted for. Well, I mean, come on. This might sound cold, but I guess the least you can say is like, I mean, it was obviously instantaneous. There's no way there are any survivors. These people were vaporized. Look at the blast radius. I mean, even the cars are completely blown up and of fire damaged that are hundreds of feet away. These, you know, I guess, you know, people, you know, of course people are going to make dark jokes about it. Here's the before and after. So that's what I was looking for. So here's the building before. It looks pretty tall, actually. Here's the building before, and here's the building after. That's the corner of the building. This floor looks like it was multiple levels, or it may have been like a granary or whatever, where it's really tall and they have all this stuff going on. But like, they're finding no. I mean, this is the building before. This looks about 2 stories high, and there is nothing left. Must have been a pretty big building. If you look at the size of this dumpster, we've all seen those big dumpsters. We know how big they are. So this building was quite large. They'll probably find nothing of the people that were in there, which is really unfortunate for their families. Here's a better before and after. Oh, this is just a guy live streaming. Okay. Here's a before. So it's a very large building. There's the parking lot. As of right now, obviously, I'm going to say this was, you know, an accident. Here's CNN.
We're currently about 3 minutes away from the location. We noticed shortly after takeoff from John Toon a large plume of smoke. I'll pan up and show you that.
I mean, the explosion was so big. It was like, it was a bomb factory. A literal bomb went off.
Reportedly at the off to.
You know, when people say fear dead, I mean, they are dead. There's no, I mean, they're not going to be able to find anything. Like this is so sad. Definitely feel for their families. This is, of course, the risk when you work in a bomb factory. But it sits on 1,300. The plant is dedicated to development, manufacturing, handling, and storage of high-quality energetic products. They utilize both in defense and commercial markets, according to the website. I'm guessing that it was probably a small explosion went off, and then it ignited the rest of the materials around. I don't know. Wouldn't you think that this stuff is kind of stored, and they would have processes in place so that, like, one thing that we can't rule out is some employee did this. I don't, I don't know. I can't make that. I can't, that would be wild speculation. But it's almost like for an explosion this big, it feels like did some employee want to like off themselves and they did it? I don't know. A simple mistake could have probably done this, but what would that mistake have been? Like, I just feel like when it was your job to make bombs, like, mistakes happen. Right now, there's zero evidence that it wasn't a mistake. And in fact, a mistake happened 11 years ago. The same, a similar thing happened 11 years ago. So it's not like it happens once in a million years. There could have been some random spark. It could have been anything completely random. 19 killed because Trump gutted the public safety professionals that would have prevented this one. See, you knew this was going to happen. So people are blaming Trump. That they're blaming Trump for this. Why? Of course. Because of course they are. Absolutely, absolute nut jobs. Well, my heart and prayers go out to their families, their kids, their parents, anybody that knew them. Just awful all around.